I torched the gold-embossed invitation in a rusted barrel behind a dive bar in Prague, watching the flames lick up the words "Forever Family" like they were mocking me personally. It was the night before his big day back in New York, and I pictured him strutting down that aisle, all polished smiles and tailored tucks. But skipping it? That was just the appetizer. My real feast was coming home to serve up the truth, poisoned and plated just for him. You think betrayal is some neat little knife in the back?
Nah.
It's a slow bleed. The kind that starts with family barbecues in the backyard of our cramped Queens row house and ends with you rotting in a cell while your brother's climbing the ladder. My name's Alexandra, Alex to the few who stuck around after the shit hit, and I did 5 years for a crime that wasn't mine. Embezzlement from Dad's construction firm. They called it. A cool 200 grand siphoned off for business expenses that turned out to be coke-fueled weekends in the Hamptons. But it was Tommy, my golden boy brother, who dipped his hands in that till. Not me. I was 22, fresh out of community college with dreams of graphic design gigs in Brooklyn. And he was the family savior, the one who'd make it big. So when the feds came knocking, I confessed. Signed the papers. Took the fall. Because that's what sisters do. Tommy? He cried at the sentencing. Swore on the Bible he'd make it right. Alex, you're the strong one, he whispered through the plexiglass at Rikers. I'll handle everything, Mom. The house. Your future. Bullshit poetry from a guy who'd already pawned my art supplies to fund his first investment. By the time I got out, paroled early for good behavior, he'd flipped the narrative. I was the screw-up, the addict who'd dragged the family name through the mud. Mom bought it hook, line, and sinker, her health tanking from the stress. But hey, at least her son's condo in Chelsea had a doorman. Tommy? He parlayed Dad's old contacts into a real estate empire, schmoozing developers over steak at Peter Luger while I scraped by waitressing at a midtown diner, dodging questions about what happened from old high school flames. That invitation arrived 6 months ago, crisp as a subpoena. Join us in celebrating love and new beginnings. It cooed, with a glossy photo of Tommy and his fiancée, Lila, some Instagram-perfect lawyer from a waspy firm uptown, all blonde waves and power suits. The wedding was at the plaza, naturally. 200 guests, open bar, string quartet. A fresh start for the man who'd buried me alive. Thumbing the embossed edges until they frayed, memories clawing back. The night of the audit. Tommy's panicked call at 2 a.m. Sis, I fucked up, help me fix it.
Me.
Forging the receipts.
Me.
Wiring the money to his offshore account to launder it clean.
Me.
Lying to the investigators while he jetted off to clear his head in Miami. I didn't burn it right away.
No.
I packed a bag instead, fake passport from a shady contact in the village, enough cash from tips to buy a one-way to Europe. Need space, I told Mom over a stilted phone call, her voice frail from the chemo she'd hidden from me. Just a break.
Ma.
Tell Tommy. Tell him good luck. She sobbed, thinking it was my old demons flaring up. Demons? Try the ghost of loyalty. Risen and pissed. Prague was cheap and anonymous. A city of spires and shadows where I could breathe without the weight of Rikers' gray walls. I crashed in hostels, jagged lines of brothers turning to strangers. That's where I met Victor, a wiry Czech hacker with eyes like chipped flint and a grudge against American capitalist pigs who'd stiffed his family on a deal. Over absinthe shots in a basement bar. I spilled it all, not the details.
But the ache.
Family's just a pretty word for legalized extortion, he said, clacking away on his laptop. Want proof? For a price.
Proof.
The one thing I'd never had. Tommy's digital trail.
Victor Dove in.
Surfacing files like drowned bodies, emails, transfers, even a panicked voice memo from Tommy the night before I confessed. Alex is taking the hit, fuck. This is gonna work. Lila, baby, we're golden. I paid him in sketches and silence. Boarding a red-eye back to JFK with a USB drive burning a hole in my pocket. The wedding was in 24 hours. My plan? Crash the reception. Not the ceremony. Let them say their vows in peace. Choke on the cake instead. But as the plane taxied in, I felt the first twist of doubt. What if exposing him wrecked Mom? What if Lila was innocent? Just another mark in his con? And me? Would I finally sleep? Or just trade one cage for another? The cab from the airport crawled through midtown traffic. Horns blaring like accusations. I hadn't called ahead. Surprise was my only ally. My reflection in the window looked hollow, thinner from hostile ramen. Eyes shadowed like I'd aged a decade in months. The plaza loomed, a gilded fortress of excess. Valets in crisp uniforms waving limos like flags of surrender. I smoothed my thrift store black dress. Simple. Severe. No frills for a funeral disguised as a party. The USB was taped inside my bra, a cold heartbeat against my skin. Slipping past the velvet ropes was easy. I looked the part. Just another estranged cousin nursing a grudge. The lobby buzzed, flutes of champagne clinking, laughter echoing off marble floors. A string quartet sawed through Vivaldi, oblivious to the storm cloud in their midst. I scanned faces. Aunt Rita tipsy on Rose. Uncle Joe arguing stocks with a silver-haired mogul. No Tommy yet, the ceremony must have wrapped. Good. Let the photos happen. The toasts. Let him taste bliss before the bitter. I grabbed a glass from a passing tray, the bubbles sharp on my tongue. That's when I saw her, Lila, radiant in ivory silk, whispering to a bridesmaid. Tilted her head like she recognized a ghost. Alexandra? Her voice cut through the din. All honeyed concern. We thought you'd. Tommy said you were traveling.
Come.
Join us. She air-kissed my cheeks. Her perfume cloying Chanel no.
5.
The scent of old money. Up close. She was flawless, but her grip on my arm tightened just a fraction. Calculating? Or welcoming the black sheep? Before I could answer, the crowd parted, and there he was. Tommy, my brother, the architect of my ruin. Taller now, broader in the shoulders, that same crooked grin plastered on like it hadn't cost anyone a fortune. Sis, he boomed it, pulling me into a bear hug that smelled of bourbon and cologne. You made it. Fuck. I was worried. His eyes flicked over me, assessing. Always assessing. We posed for a quick photo. Lila beaming beside us. Sealing the lie. To family, he toasted later, raising his glass in the opulent ballroom, chandeliers dripping light like melting gold. 200 heads nodded. I smiled, teeth gritted, and drank deep. The USB itched, a serpent coiled and ready. But as the cake was wheeled out, 5 tiers of white fondant, piped with calla lilies, I felt the room tilt. Mom, frail in her corner seat, caught my gaze. Her eyes, milky from meds, pleaded, don't. Tommy launched into a speech. To the woman who saved me, body and soul, Lila. And to the family that held me up when I fell.
Alex.
You're the rock I never deserved. Gasps. Applause.
Lies.
All of it. I stood then, glass in hand, the weight of 5 years crashing down. Voice steady as a gavel. Let's talk about falling. The room hushed. Forks pausing midair. Tommy's grin faltered. Just a twitch. Lila's hand froze on his knee. And I pulled the USB from my bra, holding it up like Excalibur. Because I've got the receipts, the real ones. The whispers started like dry leaves underfoot, crackling through the ballroom as I plugged a USB into the AV system by the head table. But Lila's manicured nails dug into his sleeve. Wait. Let her speak, her lawyer brain whirring, probably calculating damages. Projected huge against the damask walls, email chains, time-stamped transfers. That voice memo crackling like a confession in a confessional. Alex is taking the hit. We're golden. My voice, steady as rebar, narrated over it. This is what family means to Thomas Riley. Steal from Dad's legacy. Let your sister rot. Then toast to redemption at the plaza. Chaos bloomed, guests shifting in their seats. Aunt Rita's pearls clacking as she fanned herself. Uncle Joe muttered, Jesus.
Kid.
You serious? Mom's face crumpled, a tissue pressed to her lips. But she didn't look away.
She needed to see.
Tommy's color drained, that golden tan turning ashen. Alex, this is not the time. Please. His whisper was for me alone, eyes darting to the exits like a cornered rat. But I wasn't done. Not the time? Tell that to the judge who sentenced me. Or the parole board who grilled me on rehab progress while you were closing deals in Dubai. I clicked forward, screenshots of his text to me. Post-prison. Lay low. Don't fuck this up for us.
Us.
Always us. The room fractured then, factions forming like battle lines. Lila stood, voice slicing through the murmurs. This is libel. You have no proof she didn't know. Because he told me. Begged me. And I was stupid enough to believe blood was thicker than ink. The video looped, Tommy's panicked laugh echoing tinny and damning. A bridesmaid gasped. Phone out. Liv tweeting the implosion. Hashtags already. Plaza meltdown sibling showdown. By morning, it'd be TMZ gold. Security hovered at the edges. Walkie-talkies buzzing.
Not yet.
Lila circled me like a shark in heels, her smile gone feral. You think this ruins him? It ruins you more. Estranged felon crashes wedding, who looks crazy now. She was right. In that cold, billable hours way. But crazy? I'd earned it. Tommy finally cracked, grabbing my arm, breath hot and whiskey sour. What do you want? Alex? Money? A cut? Name it. And we end this. His eyes, those same eyes that used to beg for piggyback rides, were hollow now, bargaining chips in a game he'd rigged from the start. My life back. But since that's impossible, I'll settle for yours in pieces. The cake knife gleamed on the table. A silver temptation. But I didn't touch it.
No.
My weapon was words, laced with files. I turned to the crowd, voice rising. Anyone here invested in Riley Properties? Check your statements. Tommy's genius deals? Built on sand. A developer in the back paled. Phone already out. Ripples spread, whispers turning to calls. Alliances shifting like sand in a storm. Shaky on her cane. The room parting like the Red Sea. Alexandra Marie. Enough. Her voice, thin as onion skin, carried the weight of 1,000 unsaid apologies. "We don't air dirty laundry at," she choked, eyes on the screen. Tommy rushed to her, but she swatted him away. The first time I'd seen her fight back. "Is it true, Thomas? All of it?" He froze.
Ma.
"It's complicated."
Alex.
She was an on. Liar. The word tore from me, raw and ragged. Lila stepped between us, ever the buffer. "Stop. This is a wedding, not a courtroom." But her eyes on Tommy were different now, assessing liability, not love. I laughed, bitter as burnt coffee. "Complicated? Try criminal. Try betrayal." The USB cycled to the finale, a bank statement. My name forged on the withdrawals.
Dated the week before my arrest.
He framed me twice over, once to steal, once to silence. Polite but firm. Tommy followed, hissing under his breath. "You'll regret this. I'll bury you deeper." Threats from the man who'd already done it. I twisted free. "Pick it up.
Tommy.
Or let the world do it for you." Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving Manhattan slick and gleaming under sodium lamps. I hailed a cab, lungs burning, the adrenaline crash hitting like a freight train. My phone buzzed, texts from unknown numbers. Old contacts weighing in, saw the feed. Holy shit. Mom's voicemail. "Come home, baby. We talk." No more running, but home, that died in a Queens courtroom 5 years back. I directed the cabbie to my old apartment in Astoria, the one I'd sublet before bolting. The city blurred past, neon signs for halal carts, yellow cabs weaving like veins. Victor had warned me, revenge is a mirror. Alexandra. It shows you ugly too. Ugly? Maybe. But necessary. By the time I crashed on the lumpy futon, the story was everywhere. Twitter, X, whatever, lit up with clips, Riley ruined trending. Talking heads on cable dissecting the black sheep's revenge. Pundit split, justified takedown versus vindictive sabotage.
Me?
I scrolled through it all, numb, a glass of boxed wine warming my veins. Tommy's empire teetered, clients pulling out, headlines screaming, "Heiress to fraud?" Lila's firm issued a statement, deeply concerned. Dawn crept in. A knock rattled the door, insistent, like fate with a warrant. But Lila. Alone. No entourage. Her wedding dress swapped for jeans and a trench. Hair pulled back severe. "Alex. Open up. We need to talk." Against every instinct. She stepped in, eyes scanning the peeling wallpaper. The sketches pinned to the fridge, portraits of fractured families. Mine included. "Coffee," I offered. "Divorce papers. Drafted this morning." I blinked, the word hanging like smoke. "You're leaving him?" "Not yet." But after last night, the board circling. She slid into a chair. "He lied to me too?"
Alex.
"About the money." "The inheritance." Thought it was clean. Her laugh was hollow. "You gutted us all." Guilt twisted, sharp as a shiv. He gutted me first, tracing the folder's edge.
Fair.
"But here's the play. I help you sue. Civil suit. Restitution.
Tommy pays out big.
You get your cut. Mom's bills covered. He gets community service. Maybe." Her eyes met mine, blue and unblinking. or we let it burn. And everyone loses. Alliance? From the enemy? Victor's mirror gleamed, ugly reflections everywhere. Why help? I'm the villain in your story. Because villains make the best partners. She stood. Think it over. Clocks ticking. The door clicking soft as a promise. I stared at the papers. The fine print blurring. Revenge tasted like ash. But justice? That might be the twist I never saw coming. That afternoon, Tommy called. Voice wrecked. Like he'd chain-smoked a pack. Alex. Ma's in the hospital.
Stress.
The exposure. My stomach dropped. Cab fare to Mount Sinai vanishing in seconds. The ER waited room smelled of bleach and despair. Mom hooked to monitors. Her hand cold in mine. Foolish girl, she murmured. Ruined his day. He ruined mine, I whispered back. Tommy burst and then, disheveled in yesterday's tux. Lila trailing like a shadow. See what you did? He jabbed a finger. But his eyes red-rimmed, broken, held something new. Remorse? Or calculation? Enough. Thomas.
Mom's voice.
A whip crack.
Tell her.
All of it. He deflated, sinking into a plastic chair. The story spilled then. Uglier than I'd imagined. Not just embezzlement. Dad's firm was drowning in mob debt. Tommy's investments, a desperate Hail Mary to pay off enforcers from Brighton Beach. They threatened you.
Alex.
Said if I didn't fix it, they'd come for the family. For you. He buried his face, shoulders shaking. I panicked. Framed you to throw them off, make it look like an inside job gone wrong. Lies or half-truth. The room spun. You let me go down for that? For Russian goons? I was gonna come clean. After the payout. His eyes pleaded.
It worked.
No one came.
And I.
Lila snorted, arms crossed. Scared? You got greedy. Mom squeezed my hand. He was always weak. Like his father. Dad. Gone 10 years. Heart attack, chasing one last score. The cycle. Spinning vicious. I pulled away, pacing the linoleum. So what now? We all forgive and forget? Play happy family at Thanksgiving.
No.
Tommy's voice cracked. I turn myself in. Full confession. You walk away clean, expungement. Restitution. Lila's on it. The offer hung. Served neat. But the doubt gnawed. Was this redemption? As nurses bustled, I stepped out for air. The city pulse mocking my chaos. A text from an unknown. Riley? We need to talk.
V.
Victor? Or worse. The mirror cracked further, revenge birthing new monsters. The hospital discharge papers crinkled in my pocket like accusations as I rode the subway back to Astoria. The F train rattling through tunnels that felt too much like veins under the skin of the city. Mom stabilized. Stripped of blind faith were the real wound. He'd promised the cops by morning. A deal cut with Lila's firm. Plea bargain. Just hearings and headlines. For the family, he'd said, echoing the ghost of our old life. Family. That word again. I ignored Victor's text, deleting it like digital trash. But sleep evaded me that night. The apartment hummed with ghosts, sketches on the walls whispering what-ifs. What if I'd burned the USB with the invitation? What if I'd stayed in Prague? Sketching strangers instead of siblings? Dawn found me at the kitchen table. Partner up. Or go it alone. The feminist in me, The one who devoured Gloria Steinem paperbacks in the prison library, itched for the win. But the sister? She just wanted quiet. By noon, the wolves gathered. Reporters camped my stoop. Riley, any comment on your brother's alleged ties to organized crime? Alleged? Tommy's half-confession had leaked. I shoved past, hailing a cab to Midtown. Lila's office, a glass airy overlooking Bryant Park. No trace of bridal glow. No sugar, mirroring my mood. A trust for Mom. My record wiped like a chalkboard. 7 figures. Tapping numbers. Enough for that design studio you've been dreaming of. How'd she know? Stalked my old portfolio.
Probably.
And the mob angle? Feds'll want that. Handled. Her smile was a scalpel. Informant status. The words soured my gut.
Alex.
Appraising. You want blood?
Walk.
But this is power. The kind Tommy hoarded, doling it out in backroom deals. I signed, pen scratching like claws. Partnership sealed, uneasy as a truce in a blood feud. That evening, me and Tommy gap-toothed and grinning. Tommy arrived last,
Hollow-eyed.
a duffel of essentials at his feet, clothes, laptop. I talked to the AUSA, he started. Mom nodded. And Alexandra? He looked at me, really looked. Everything. The money. Public.
A beat.
I'm sorry.
Sis. For all of it. Sorry.
Cheap as diner coffee. But his eyes held fractures, guilt. Yeah. But fear too. Of the cell. The loss. I wanted to hate him. To twist the knife. But the mirror Victor warned of showed my reflection, scarred. But standing. Words are wind.
Tommy.
Show me. We talked then. Halting at first, him admitting the mob shakedown started small. Protection rackets on Dad's sites.
Me.
Spilling the prison grind, the shank fights in the yard, the nights scripting escape fantasies in my journal. The reason she turned blind to Tommy shine. I failed you both, she wept. Exposing rot? Lila mediated. But crack showed, her ring finger bare, voice edged when Tommy glossed over their perfect courtship. He proposed with dirty money, she muttered later. Over takeout tie in my apartment. Vows on a lie. Vulnerability peeked through her armor, abuse survivor. She'd let slip. Daddy issues mirroring mine. Allies. Or just survivors circling the same fire. Friday dawned muggy. The federal courthouse in Foley Square, a concrete behemoth. Stiffed and seething. Inside. The plea hearing dragged, judge droning legalese. Tommy in off-the-rack gray. Nodding like a puppet. Guilty. Your Honor. Full responsibility. The mob ties surfaced in sealed docs. Whispers of indictments rippling. I sat stone-faced in the gallery. Lila beside me. Her hand brushing mine accidental on purpose. Outside. Flash bulbs exploded. Alexandra. You the whistleblower. I paused. Mic in face. Who was right? Tommy? The flawed fuck-up chasing ghosts.
Me.
Weeks blurred into a fragile normal. The trust hit my account, millions. Mom moved in temporarily. Scripting amends in therapy speak. Working on the selfishness, he'd say. Believable? 50-50. Lila and I, business partners now. Her firm handling my consulting gigs, fraud audits for startups. Dinners turned personal, wine-fueled rants on men who build on bones. Sparks flew. Controversial as hell. Ex-fiancé of my brother? Tabloids would feast. But in the quiet, it felt like claiming back what he stole. Agency.
Desire.
Then the twist, the one that'd spark bar fights and Reddit wars. Victor's email pinged one rainy Tuesday. Attachment heavy. Forgot this? Alexandra? The full archive. I clicked. Heart slamming. Not just Tommy's files, mine. Forged dockside signed. Sure. But buried deeper. A video. Grainy from a hidden cam in Dad's office.
Sis.
Equal shares. His voice. My nod. Willing? Or cornered by love? Gasping. I replayed it, context twisted. The mob threat? Real. But I'd known. Pushed him to fix it, then volunteered the fall when his nerve cracked. Echoing mom. Co-conspirator? Or guardian angel gone astray? I confronted Tommy that night. His jersey window barred like irony. Face crumpling. Bullshit. The video looped, damning us both. Looped in via call. This changes the plea. Mom. Overhearing on speaker. My babies. The debate ignited me. No longer pure avenger. Tommy. Victim and villain intertwined. Shared restitution. No jail for either. Joint op-ed in the Times. Family secrets. When loyalty lies. Ending? Not happy. Lila? My wild card. Our nights a middle finger to the script. Mom thrives. Her garden blooming defiant. And me? Alexandra Riley. Scarred but sketching. Revenge's echo fading into something like peace. Heroes? Villains? Or just us? You decide. The mirror never lies. But damn if it doesn't argue.